welcome back to Right Answers Mostly, a podcast on what you didn't learn in history class, but you really wanted to. That's Claire Donald.
That's Tessa Lomo. Every time we're like screaming.
We needed that.
Yes,
and we just needed a little boost of energy.
of course.
Because we have a very exciting episode today.
I'm pumped.
Something that you guys have been requesting, something that has been very present in the air, on the news.
It's been in my everyday life.
I mean, truly.
In all of ours, whether you like it or not, it is.
Exactly. And that is why we are doing the one and only Kamala Harris today.
Ooh, I'm excited, Tess.
I do want to ask how you are and how everything's going.
So I'm good. I'm turning 30 in 2 days, so that's exciting.
Crazy.
So we're going to celebrate on Friday. By the time this episode comes out, we will be in Europe, actually, so that's also exciting. Congratulations to our friends Lauren and Alex. We're so excited to see y'all get hitched.
Yes, we're going to Italian wedding.
Yeah, Italia. So I'm good. Yeah, this is my last episode recording in my 20s.
That is wild.
I know.
She's a Virgo queen. You guys, she's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, I've been doing this thing called life for a long time now. So I'm good. Tess, how are you?
I'm good. I think just trying to prepare mentally for Europe.
Again, do you know where your passport is?
I do. I did check.
Great. Thank God.
I usually keep it in this box, and then I did open the box the other day, and it wasn't in there. And then it was just right below the box.
Oh, thank God.
So yeah, I think I mostly have the outfits. The outfits were definitely something we needed to check off the list. It's like the adulthood stuff that you're like, why is going on vacation stressful until you get on vacation?
And then when you come back, you're like, I need a vacation from my vacation.
And then you're a little sad.
Yeah, the vacation blues are so real. But we're not there yet. We'll deal with that. I'm actually going to go over to Tessa's house while she's not there and watch the debate with Molly.
Oh, did you guys text?
No, but I've just decided it.
I'm so happy for you guys. Oh, God.
So Molly, when you listen to this, just know I'll see you soon, babe.
I'll be asleep in Paris.
Yeah.
I'll watch you in the morning.
How romantic. And, hopefully it's going to be this great success victory, and we're putting that out there. But I will feel so much more knowledgeable going into the debate. I mean, it can't be worse than the last debate that we saw.
Sure can't, Claire.
So that's always
can't.
Great.
Well, that is a great transition because I think that was part of why we wanted to do this, because there's been a lot of questions that I think everyone, doesn't matter what political party you are associated with, I think a lot of people have been like, who is Kamala? I think this is a great episode, to send to friends, family, people that might not know anything about her. And we hope that you guys enjoy it and just get to know her a little bit more.
I can't wait. Can't wait to gossip about our girl Kamala.
Okay, so sources. Wikipedia.
Of course.
Of course. That's where we just always have to start. We have NPR.
Oh. Ooh. I love NPR.
We have Politico.
Oh, smart.
We have CNN.
Okay.
And we have the Daily Podcast.
Oh, the Daily. I love the Daily.
We are in our daily era.
I'm in my daily era.
And we love it. It's short. It's sweet. It's informative.
Yeah, you guys check it out. Talk about a cool, older... That's the Daily is our smart older brother that we wish we could be like,
Totally. Who goes to, Berkeley.
100%. And he's, kind of embarrassed of us, but loves us.
Exactly. And in, 10 years, we'll be closer.
Yes.
And he's waiting for that.
We just have to mature ourselves. Yeah, okay, that's 100% accurate.
And, his friends are until, they're a little bit older, then I maybe,
Yeah, but they are, his friends are also but your little sisters are hot.
You can invite them to the party. Yeah.
We bring the Raz to the party,
We sure do. You want us at your party.
Yeah.
Okay, so Madam Vice President, hopefully soon to be our next president, Kamala Harris. Claire, can you guess her sign?
Is she a Libra?
Yes! Oh my God! How did you know?
Justice, babe. Justice. We don't like conflicts. We it's the judicial. What's that word?
Judicial?
I don't know. Y'all know what I'm saying. That's the sign.
I am shocked. I'm not shocked because you always guess, but that's really good.
Tell me astrology's not real, people.
She was born on October 20th, 1964, making her a Libra queen, but I think she's cuspy to a Scorpio.
Mm-hmm, very close to
Because I think Scorpio starts on I want to say only a couple days after.
Yeah, I think it's for sure, because I know someone's 24th is Scorpio.
Well, I was reading on one of my sources that she was a Scorpio, and I was like, something doesn't feel 100% right. Mm-hmm. And then I saw an interview where she was like, well, I'm a Libra. And I was like,
It's cusp are more fun,
I know. It's for the drama.
That's true.
So I put, Claire, what are some Libra qualities? But you have already gotten there. Mm-hmm. And, I appreciate that. So she was born in Oakland, California, making her a true Bay Area girly through and through. There's so much Bay Area in this episode, which I was just like, ah.
Tess, Bay Area sees Bay Area.
Her mom, Shamala Gopalin, was an immigrant from India who had moved to the U.S. at 19 to go to UC Berkeley.
Oh my God.
Berkeley's on my mind.
I just like also the fact that I text this the other day during the DNC that Kamala's mom's name is Shamala. I'm obsessed.
Like, women need to name their daughter. Men get to do this all the time.
Yes.
And women, name your daughter either after you or something that rhymes with your name.
Rhymes is so fun. Who's coming to the party? Oh, it's Shamala and Kamala.
It's just like,
I love it.
It's adorable.
It is adorable.
So she's a smart cookie. She later worked as a biologist, primarily in breast cancer research.
Also, I just need to take a second. She was 19 and she immigrated from India. That is brave season.
And going to UC Berkeley.
Smart.
Like, smart
as hell.
Smart and brave.
We love that.
Her dad, whose name is Donald.
Wow. I've had some things. Well, first of all, Donald, it's my last name.
Yeah.
And I'm really sad that there has been some.
But I never even associate. I actually, right when you said that, I was like, I never even thought about that.
I know. It's upsetting. Donald Duck and I have had some words and we're like, we want to reclaim our name.
Like, let's bring lightness back.
Right, exactly.
Let's bring joy.
So hopefully we can just diminish that.
That's true.
But irony.
The irony.
Yeah.
So Donald J. Harris,
He's also a Donald J.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, he is. He moved to the U.S. from Jamaica, and then he became an economics teacher at Stanford.
Oh my God. So she's like bound to be brilliant.
I mean, it's in her blood.
Yeah.
So her parents met in 1962. They were married in 1963 and had Kamala the year after. In 1966, the whole family, the three of them, moved to Champaign, Illinois.
Fun.
Because her parents both got offers at the University of Illinois to teach. So they were bopping around a little bit. This is where her younger sister Maya was born in Chicago that year.
Oh, she's gorgeous, by the way.
She is gorgeous.
Both of them are stunning.
When she spoke at the DNC. So her parents are bopping around. They're in the Midwest. They're in their teaching positions. And in 1970, Kamala, her sister Maya, and her mom moved back to California, and her dad stayed in the Midwest.
Sad.
I know. I read that and I was like, okay, let's see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
When Kamala began kindergarten, she was bused as a part of Berkeley's comprehensive desegregation program to Thousand Oaks Elementary School, a public school in a more prosperous neighborhood in northern Berkeley, which had previously been 95% white. And after the desegregation plan went into effect, it became 40% black. And I thought that this was interesting because, she's part of it already at 5 years old. She's like, let's make shit happen. And I want to be part of that change. And obviously her mom is.
Yeah. It's 5.
Is a huge influence. But she said that some of her first memories of her life were going to protests and being pushed in strollers with her mom and seeing the injustices of the world and seeing people speak out to what they believe in. She grew up 2 blocks away from the Black Panthers headquarters. She was just in it.
I think that's so powerful and such a good reminder that we don't have to hide kids from these issues, that we should be exposing. It's not just an adult issue, it's an everyone issue.
Oh my God, totally. What's the fear in bringing your kid? I remember when I went after Roe v. Wade was overturned, I went to a protest and there were toddlers and 6-year-olds there. And I was like, this is amazing.
Because it affects them one day.
Exactly.
Also, how crazy the fact that someone who is now running for president and is still young was a part of a desegregation movement.
I know.
Wow, we've come so far and we have so far to go, but my God.
That's a great point. I know. She says, quote, "My parents would bring me to protest strapped tightly in my stroller, and my mother raised my sister Maya and me to believe that it was up to us and every generation of Americans to keep on marching. She'd tell us, don't sit around and complain about things, do something." It gives me chills.
Same, and that is patriotic.
Truly.
Working to make your country better.
Exactly, like we talked about in last week's episode. You have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Use it. Do something about it. So her parents did divorce when she was 5. However, she says of her mom, who she was very close with, probably the biggest inspiration of her life. She said, "When I was 5, my parents split and my mother raised us mostly on her own. Like so many mothers, she worked around the clock to make it work. Packing lunches before we woke up and paying bills after we went to bed, helping us with homework at the kitchen table, and shuttling us to church for choir practice. She made it look easy, though I know it never was. She taught us to put family first, the family you're born into and the family you choose.
Ugh, the power of moms.
No kidding. That she made it look easy always makes me...
I can't. I mean, it takes a village when you have two parents. So I just it's incredible.
I know it is. And there was like a slight custody battle over the kids. It ended up in their mom being able to obtain full custody, but there were a couple summers at the beginning where they were like still on speaking terms, and Kamala and Maya would go spend some summers in Palo Alto with him, my hometown.
Because he went back to Stanford?
Went back to Stanford.
Yeah.
You can't stay away.
No.
That campus is too gorgeous.
I am ready to go back. Go back with Tess.
We should, and we'll hike the dish. We'll do the whole thing.
Ooh.
Very Bay Area. And so they'd go to like Jamaica with him, I think, for only like 2 summers, and it didn't last long. They cut ties with him, and now they no longer have a relationship with him.
Is he still alive?
I believe he is still alive.
But in her adult life, she didn't have a...
No, there is no relationship. And he once like did something kind of sketchy. He kind of almost reminded me of like a little Meghan Markle's dad when like she got famous, and then he tried to like speak to the press, and he did this like stupid interview in some Jamaican magazine being like, when she became VP or when she was running for maybe president the first time, he was like, well, she's like has Jamaican in her blood, so you know that she smokes marijuana, but she's going to tell you that she doesn't. And it's like,
no one asked you.
No one asked you. And also like that makes me like her more.
Same.
And like, shut up.
Yeah. So he was saying that as a negative thing?
Yeah, he was like, she's going to pretend that, like, he was trying to give her some sort of diss or put her in
he was trying to get his 15 minutes.
Exactly.
So.
And that is losery.
Yeah.
So Kamala spent her free time as a kid very, like, she was involved. She was a leader. People in her classroom were like, she runs this place. Like, she's like the mayor of the classroom.
The teachers like, just ask her.
She was very passionate about her cultures and her Black and Indian identity. Because you can be both.
She didn't just decide one day. She was born.
No, she didn't just decide. And since she was a kid, she had very, very strong connections to both of these identities. Mm-hmm. Their neighbor, who was a huge part of their life, who I actually don't have her name written down, regularly took the girls to an African-American church in Oakland where they sang in the children's choir. And the girls and their mother also frequently visit a nearby African-American cultural center. So it's just like a big part of like their daily lives. Their mother introduced them to Hinduism and took them to a nearby Hindu temple where their mom would occasionally sing.
Oh, wow.
Which is very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And then her mom is like, you know what? I got a job in Quebec.
And the girls are like, shit.
They're like, we love the Bay Area. This sucks.
Yeah.
You know McGill University in Quebec?
I don't think so.
That's where our Rami Brooke, shout out to you, that's like where she went to school. It's a very chic school.
I mean, yeah. Quebec, I feel like, is chic. They speak French there, right?
It's like mostly French. Yeah.
Hot.
It is very hot. And so Kamala went to Westmount High School, and she went to like a French school there.
Does she speak French?
Probably. Yeah, I think she does. I mean, Lord knows I don't remember anything from when I was 13, but I think she does.
She would.
She has the brain for it, you know. Yeah. So she's in high school here, and at 13 years old, she and Maya led a successful demonstration in front of their apartment building in protest of a policy that banned children from playing on the lawn. Our girl is active from a young age.
And that, I just feel like that has to be a reflection on her mom, because like, how do you get the idea at 13? I mean, also at 13, you're just like, we can, but not everyone.
Not everyone.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. To be like, we're going to take that into our own hands.
And I'm also like, what was wrong with the neighborhood that they were telling kids not to play on the lawn?
Squares. Although I'd probably live there. Yeah. Like, I understand.
I know, I'm like, it's getting too noisy.
Yeah, but good for them.
Good for them. And it's also here in high school that a friend confided in Kamala that she had been sexually abused in her home. And this was this like kind of moment of, I really want to protect women and children. And that kind of catapulted that passion. So then she is off to college. She first goes to the school Vanier in Montreal, and then she drops out and she's like, you know where I'm going to go? You know where's calling to me? Howard University.
HBCU, baby. Candace, we're looking at you.
Candace, are you listening?
Yep.
If you are, text us. We miss you.
Please, we do miss you. Our Real Housewives of Potomac, Candace, was also an alumni from Howard University.
Yes, it is a historically Black college. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's what
and when I was listening to the Daily podcast, and I'm not sure who they were interviewing, but he was like, you know what? A lot of people could kind of follow this like white elite trajectory of like, I should go to an Ivy League because that's going to give me a little bit more clout. And I think like it just like affirms so much about her like confidence in herself and also helping the Black community and being a Black woman, being like, yeah, I'm going to go to Howard. And at Howard, she was a busy girl.
I bet.
She was a busy girl. So at her time in college, gotta like clear my throat for this. She interned as a mailroom clerk for California Senator Alan Cranston. She chaired the Economic Society. She led the debate team. She joined Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority.
Check out our sorority episode. We do talk about them.
We do. She completed a summer internship at the Federal Trade Commission. And she worked as a tour guide, which I connect with because I also was a tour guide when I was in college.
You were?
Yeah, I was like, forget about this. I was.
I've never even heard this story.
It was like a part-time job. I think I worked like...
You get paid?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
well.
honey, I wouldn't have done it if you weren't. You were paid, I want to say $35 a tour. And the tours were usually like an hour and a half.
I bet, rack them up.
So I was just like, let's fucking go. Like I had to wear this really ugly yellow polo.
Oh. Did you make stuff up sometimes?
I like loved the attention, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I'm sure I was saying some crazy shit.
I mean, I was literally just doing a campus walk when I was home with Emma and Mark, and I was like, it would be so fun to give tours, but like, no, just kind of make it up as you go.
I got like confident as it went on, and like sometimes when like a cute like senior was visiting, and I was like, well, you know,
close enough.
close enough. You're all like 3 years. That would be fun too, because I was like, I bet he thinks I'm like a cool college
Oh, of course.
girl.
Especially in that yellow polo. He was like, who is that sexy woman?
I would like tie it and like make it like a little bit more of a crop.
Yeah, of course. Gotta show it off.
You had to. And finally, she participated in anti-apartheid protest in the South African embassy. And all throughout this, she worked at McDonald's to get some extra cash.
I love that.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and didn't Doug work at McDonald's too? I think
Oh,
I
did
just
he?
saw on his First Gentleman video or whatever who the First Gentleman could be that he also worked at McDonald's.
Oh my God, they're meant to be.
I mean, truly, McDonald's just like, I mean, truly employing our future leaders.
I mean, I literally put here, find a girl who can make fries and fight the patriarchy.
And isn't that stunning?
What's your McDonald's order before we continue?
When I was younger, because I've been leaning more into my Taco Bell era.
You are in it.
Yeah, but my McDonald's, I believe I would say a quarter pounder with cheese and French fries.
Yum.
And a Diet Coke. And then like a McFlurry. What about you?
I fucking love a McFlurry.
Same. Okay.
That's why I got the Ninja Creamer so I can like make my own at home.
Which McFlurry?
What's the one? The Oreo?
Okay, Oreo's gorgeous. Somehow I'm drawn to the M&Ms, even though every time I'm worried that all my teeth will chip.
Or like you'll just like choke on one. One just like goes down the straw.
It's dangerous, but I like the danger.
We do love the danger. I'm glad we talked about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so she graduates Howard with a degree in political science and economics.
Smart.
We can all say it together. Hot
For us.
I mean, literally. So she goes to grad school. She goes to University of California College of Law, San Francisco, which is now called Hastings, or it was called Hastings before. It's in San Francisco. She's back to her roots. And while at law school, she served as president of its chapter of the Black Law Students Association.
So she went to grad school and law school?
Law school
Was her like her grad school?
Yes.
Okay, good. Got it. I was like, my God.
Yeah, like, well, she's a busy woman.
She really loves school.
And I thought this was really sweet. She said that while attending law school in San Francisco, she lived with her sister Maya, who had just had a baby, and she helped potty train Maya's daughter. And she said, I'm dealing with this brutal stuff, like dog eat dog in school. And then I would come home and we would just all stand by the toilet and wave goodbye to a piece of shit. And that just really put things in perspective.
I love that. Also, the power of aunts. Love an aunt.
You are an aunt. You're in your
It's
aunt.
true.
Your
Shout out to my girls.
auntie. You say aunt, right?
I say aunt, yeah. What do you say?
I say aunt.
Yeah. Aunt.
Aunt, can you imagine if I said that? It'd be like
Haunting.
haunting moment.
You would sound like Ashley in It Takes Two. Ashley Olsen, where you're like, what is that accent, babe?
We don't have time to get into it,
We
but
don't.
we need to
But
talk
if
about
you
it
know,
at some
you know.
point. Exactly.
Yeah.
So her early career, she's a lawyer. She graduates in 1989 and she's admitted to the bar in 1990. So she's like 23 at this point, and she has done more than I have
23?
done in my entire life.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. So she's hired as a deputy district attorney, in Alameda County. And Alameda County, I was like, I'm not going to make this about myself, but I did play there once. That's the only...
Just take it there, Tess. Just take it there.
That's the only association I have because I did a play there once that was called, Claire, The Vampire Lesbians of Sodom.
I would love to see it. If you ever find footage.
There was footage on YouTube, but it was deleted. I'm actually kind of happy about that now. But I digress. This isn't about me. No, it's not. So she's in Alameda, and this is when she does start dating Speaker of the California Assembly, former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown. Do you remember the scene in I put Princess Diaries for all the millennials that he makes an appearance?
Oh, he does?
In like the first like dinner, like the Genovia, when she's introduced with the ice cream, he's there.
Oh.
Or maybe he's at the end and he has a line about like...
He's somewhere in the movie.
He's somewhere and she's like, looks like rain. And he's like, he's in the Princess Diaries.
He just like wanted to get involved.
I think they were like, well, because this is set in San Francisco. Like,
I guess that's true.
So great to have him make an appearance. And I thought like we should just mention this because it's part of her story. She is dating him. There's a bit of an age difference. She's 29. He's 60.
What?
And
who am I?
I've been getting a lot of TikTok fights because people are constantly being like, oh, she's just slept her way to the top. So like once this kind of came out, people have been dismissing her success and her accomplishments because this is the oldest insult in the book to say to a woman.
It's so easy. Also, I've seen this argument. If women could sleep their way to the top, women would rule the world. And we don't quite yet. We do. Obviously, we know that. And that's why they're scared. But no, you can't sleep your way to the top. It just can't happen.
There wouldn't be a patriarchy.
Exactly.
So it's also just not true.
And how would you know? You know every person this person has slept with?
Exactly. And he came out. I said that I'd like to make merch that says you can be horny and successful at the same time. Kamala and I do share some similar family trauma.
So there it is.
So I feel her on this.
Yeah. Also, again, like, it's kind of like what we talked about in our Monica and Bill episode. It's like the power dynamics are off, but it's not, you know what I mean?
But it's not, let's say the power dynamics are off. It's also, that's not her fault.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the person that has more power, which would be the San Francisco mayor who's 30 years her senior.
Right.
That would maybe be the one who should get any sort of backlash for that.
Right.
Why her?
And then also maybe they just had a relationship together.
Exactly. Maybe it's none of this. And they were just like, you're hot.
Yes.
You're hot.
And I'm horny and let's go.
And once again, you guys, you can be horny and successful.
Say that again. You can be horny and successful.
That's going to be the title of the
episode.
episode.
And you should be horny and successful.
Exactly. Why not?
Why not?
It's two great things. And he also gave an interview to a UK newspaper, The Times, this was like, I think right when she became VP. And he was like, I don't think she owes any of her career to me. I think talent is where she got where she is. And she has been through the chairs, district attorney, attorney general, U.S. senator, and now vice president. That's an indication that she has to be talented.
It's just because they had a relationship that people are saying she slept her way to the top.
Yeah, that she could not have gotten to where she is today if the San Francisco mayor, which like with Love and Light, it's not the biggest deal in the world.
What, in the 70s or in the 80s?
It's like literally in the 80s. Like, what does the San Francisco mayor have that you guys think is gonna?
Not that much.
Not that much. We appreciate your service.
Yeah.
But it's just not gonna happen. So everyone can zip it on that, and we just had to get through that because you know that fires us up. Yeah. Back to her career. So in February 1998, San Francisco District Attorney Terrence Hallinan recruited Kamala as an assistant district attorney. So she's in the mix.
Yeah.
She then became chief of the career criminal division, supervising 5 other attorneys, where she prosecuted homicide, burglary, robbery, and sexual assault cases that were particularly 3-strike cases.
What are 3? Because that's like a whole thing, and I don't know.
I think a 3-strike case is it the 3rd time that it happens? You get
I don't know.
Death penalty? No.
I don't know.
Guys, let me look this up really quickly. Imposes a prison sentence of 25 years to life on defendants convicted of their 3rd violent felony or serious felony.
Okay.
So basically, if you 3rd time is you're out.
Mm-hmm.
3rd strike, you're out.
Yeah.
You could say.
I guess that makes sense. It's in the name.
I'm sorry I brought it to the death penalty.
I don't think California's had the death penalty for a second.
When, since when?
It's been its second. I mean, there's still states that
Since
definitely
like the
do.
80s and 90s.
That seems right.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because I remember like growing up, that was such a thing.
Such a thing.
And like
it
that was
still
like
is a thing with people like
that was the first political question I was ever asked in like fourth grade of like, do you believe in the death penalty? I'll never forget it.
we had to debate that in ninth grade. We had to like pick both sides and like fight for both. Wow, we really do put a lot on our youth, don't we?
They're just shaking like,
I don't know.
it's like, I just want to get on AIN
Yeah,
and talk to my friends. Maybe go into a chat room with some strangers. But anyway,
That's just us.
that's just us. So she's doing her thing. In August 2000, Kamala took a job at San Francisco City Hall. That's where I had my junior prom.
At the city hall?
Yeah, but it's gorgeous. That's like where Molly got married.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure it is gorgeous. Like the Santa Monica City Hall is, but like what a random place for kids to be grinding on each other to
Well, the
lodge on.
the lights never went off. And so it was like bright grinding, which is that's a whole other story.
But that's never stopped anyone.
Sure hasn't. Sure
The
hasn't.
first 5 minutes are a little awkward and then
Exactly. And then you just do what you got to do. So she's working at San Francisco City Hall. She's now working for a different city attorney. And she is running the Family and Children's Services Division, representing child abuse and neglect cases. So that's like her main focus here. And then the city attorney that she's working for endorsed Kamala during her DA campaign. And in 2003, Kamala defeated this woman to become district attorney of San Francisco, where she was again reelected in 2007.
wow.
So our girl is district attorney.
A district attorney, that job is like regulating like crime stuff.
You're like a
right?
prosecutor.
Yeah.
Prosecutor's the same thing as district attorney.
I don't know.
It's a lot of crime.
Okay.
And I will say this about, because we are going to get into this part of her life, which did follow her for quite some time, where people had a bit of criticism to some of the decisions she made while she was in this position. And I will say this. So when she became district attorney and was a prosecutor, her family was like, oh, don't do this. They were like, it's just like really intense. You kind of also like as a woman and as a Black and Indian woman, you're going to get this like bad name, especially going like further into politics. There was just like a little bit of
Hesitation.
hesitation. And for her, she was like, I am passionate about this because I am going to dedicate my life to protecting people with smaller, lesser voices and less visibility. And that was her inspiration behind dedicating her career to this.
And I've seen her say, you know, like our community deserves to feel safe and protected as well. And it shouldn't
exactly.
be a system of corruption, which it is now.
Exactly.
And if
Claire.
no one does anything to change that, it will never change.
Yeah, and also she was very much like there is this misconception, this stereotype that Black people do not care about, you know, safety and crime and the need to help crime, and that is just not true. And so that is very much her space of entering this field.
Also, a woman entering this field, like,
Honey.
yeah.
Honey. So I think she's like, okay, so she's district attorney in San Francisco. And then the step above that, and this is when I think she like begins to prosecute people, from 2011 to 2017, she's Miss?
It's like a patch.
Why did I write this? I said Miss Attorney General of California.
She's Miss Attorney General. Because she's a woman, we have to make it like a pageant.
Exactly. You have to keep it professional. You know, she deserves all the respect.
Miss Attorney General.
So she's Attorney General. And I think this is where shit goes down.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about her time as Miss Attorney General of California right after this quick break. And we are back. So we love this because she won to a Republican white dude.
Oh, love.
Which always feels good.
She beat, yeah.
Yeah. Kamala was sworn in on January 3rd, 2011, and she was the first woman, the first Black woman, and the first South Asian American to hold the office of Attorney General in the state's history.
And that's crazy because it's 2011.
Yeah. I mean, like, that was I feel like 2011, 2012 was like a time of a lot of change. Like, do you remember, like, I remember that was like a lot of when like the Prop 8 was, you know, like gay marriage was legalized and like things were like in the, in California.
Oh, in California. Yeah.
And I just remember that time because that's when I was in college being like, I feel like shit's happening.
Things are happening.
A little bit, which is crazy because it was not long ago.
No, it was not.
But we will take all the wins
Oh, of
that we
course.
can get. And I think, like we were talking about at the beginning of the episode, a lot of people are just like, well, what did she do? Like, what has she done? And her time as Miss Attorney General of California, I'm just going to keep saying it.
No, I love it. I think that's like such an honor to be Miss Attorney General of California.
It's just like so chic.
It is.
She like reminded me of Miss Congeniality.
Of course.
And so we're going to talk about like her time as Attorney General and like what did she stand for?
Which also, by the way, like what has she done in her time? I mean, just listen to the past, 40 minutes and then compare that to the other candidate.
Exactly.
Because we've got two options, really.
We got two options, and that is your choice to pick.
Yeah, already. By the time she's 23, let's just compare resumes, you know?
I mean, truly, though. So basically, I think a lot of her passion comes from protecting the lower middle class. She's like, I just want people to be able to pay their rent, to buy a house, and to live comfortably. So in 2011, Kamala obtained 2 of the largest recoveries in the history of California's False Claim Act over excess state Medi-Cal and federal Medicare payments. That was also something that she was very passionate about, was Medicare.
Which Medicare is healthcare for people 65 years and up.
Yes. Once again, going back to that theme of like people that cannot really advocate as well for themselves.
Well, a lot of people get their healthcare from their jobs too, and then they're retired at that time. So this is a government-funded healthcare.
Exactly.
Which is a beautiful thing.
Which we do love that.
Healthcare should not just be a privilege.
In 2012, Kamala leveraged California's economic clout to obtain better terms in the national mortgage settlement against the nation's 5 largest mortgage servicers. So once again, she's thinking about how to like lower house. Why does mortgage sound like such a weird word?
Mortgage. I think when you say the word after reading the word, because there's that T in there, that it's like, what is you doing here?
I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, no one invited you.
No, it's much like
Colonel.
Talk about it. Everything that we always talk about. We'll go back to Colonel.
It all goes back to Colonel.
And in 2013, to introduce the Home Owner Bill of Rights, considered one of the strongest protections nationwide against aggressive foreclosure tactics. So she's just thinking about people trying to like have a house and just not feel stressed out about it, essentially.
And like protecting people from big companies that are trying to take advantage of the people, not the smaller people. We're big.
The people, we're big. Mm-hmm. We're big dough.
We're bigger now.
And Kamala opposed Californians' ban on affirmative action. She asked the Supreme Court to reaffirm its decision that public colleges and universities may consider race as one of the factor in admissions decisions.
It's considering to like diversify their students.
That like affirmative action should not be banned. That actually that's something that is important for
and necessary
for the college. Yeah, for your admissions decision. So she's doing all this. These are like her first kind of like big things that she's like right off the bat. She's like, let's go for it. And this is when we're going to get into a little bit of the criticism that she is receiving now, that she has received through her career. And let's just talk about him, because I think it's an interesting conversation. Like nothing is 100% black and white to me about it. And I'm curious to also hear your opinion about this.
I think it's also just like Michelle Obama said this in her speech last night with the DNC, that she was like, we have to remember that there are no perfect people here, especially like these are politicians who are working in a very imperfect system.
That's beautifully said, Claire.
Yeah. Well, and it's just,
I think we need to take out the I want to like 100% everything about them and their policies and their past.
Yep.
And I think if you get to a place of being like, you know what, I'm pretty good with most of them.
Yes. And do I trust them to hire the right people? Because it's not just a one-person job, to hire the right people to help them make better decisions as well.
It is a group project.
It is a group project, whether you like it or not.
Exactly. And we all know that, like, sometimes when there was the leader of the group project, you're like, I'm not really feeling you. Yeah. But I do think that together,
we can make something happen.
We're going to make something happen.
And I think for both of us, we're always scared to talk about things that are critiquing, even Kamala in this position, because it feels like the stakes are so high. So it's like you don't want to address even like the things that maybe we don't love so much, but it is important to do. And that is how we grow.
Let's just get into it. So I will start by saying this. Kamala has always been quoted to say, safety is a civil right and Black people deserve safety. The question is a lot of people have on her was like, oh, is she this like ruthless cop or is she soft on crime? Like, where does she land? She did prosecute people. Were some of those unfair? Many Democrats have said that she was more conservative when it came to crime, siding more with the right, which confused them, while Republicans were saying that she's too soft, siding with the left.
Okay. So what did she do that was sending people to prison?
So She was always driven by a reformist mindset when she became district attorney in 2004. She had like this very incremental approach to change that was highlighted by some of the programs that she would later champion that provided alternatives to incarceration for the first-time offenders, including job training and school enrollment. She had this program called the Back on Track program. Have you heard of it? Which is still used today that for incarcerated people to like find their way back into the workforce with assistance and support. Some of those headlines that are like, she just ruthlessly threw people into jail and didn't care. Not true.
Right. She had programs to help people or I guess what is it?
Rehabilitation.
Yeah, be reintroduced to society
Yes.
from jail.
In a speech launching her 2020 presidential campaign, Kamala showed she wasn't oblivious to the damage that prosecutors can do in people's lives, especially from her own experience. Quote, too many Black and brown Americans are locked up, from mass incarceration to cash bail to policing. Our criminal justice system needs drastic repair. So when it came to her own record, she said, because she's been asked about this since, I mean, this is what everyone is going to try to like grill her on. She said, at a time when prevention and redemption were not in the vocabulary or mindset of most district attorneys, we created an initiative to get skills and job training instead of jail time for young people arrested for drugs.
I mean, yeah, that is the solution.
I mean, truly.
Or it is a solution that I think is more effective than just locking people up.
Basically, there's a lot of controversy over her putting people in jail for marijuana use.
Did she send a lot of people to jail because of marijuana offenses?
She sent some.
Okay.
Yeah, and she did. We have seen quite that shift in the tide, I think, for her.
Well, and also to see growth, if under her administration, there were a lot of people, I'm not sure how many people were sent to jail for marijuana use. If you look at how she's changed now, she just picked a running mate that was has made moves in his state to pardon people for marijuana charges, I believe. Well, he made it legal in his state.
Yeah, she and Biden have been very passionate about doing that, in which she will also continue. She said, we have issued as an administration with President Biden's leadership more pardons and commutations than any recent administration at this point in their term. For example, on marijuana, we have pardoned all people for federal convictions for simple marijuana possession.
That's major.
So I think we do have to also look at the policies that she's implementing now. But her biggest controversy was this anti-truancy policy, which threatened to arrest and prosecute parents whose children skipped school. She had researched a lot about how there was a correlation between kids who missed a lot of school to them being more likely to be incarcerated at some point in their life. And California already had this law on its books, actually, and her innovation was to build a really standardized way for local district attorneys to get involved in just pressuring parents. It was also like, it's not like you just like a district attorney would show up at one of their houses and be like, you're in jail. It would be, they had like, I think a 3-step program again of like, we talk about it together.
I remember when I first heard that, my immediate reaction was like, that just seems very, and I don't say this often, but like too much government involved in that. And I think it did result in a lot of patrolling, like police patrolling in these neighborhoods. And it just had something in my body of being like, that's too much.
I mean, it definitely feels intense.
Yeah. And if you like, it seems simple enough, right? Like we got to make sure that they really know. And if it could be that simple, it would work.
Exactly. And like, I think I understand what she's like, okay, I've done research on this and I, know that there's this correlation and she's always been into getting to the root of the problem first. And I truly do believe that. But it's, I don't think it's a perfect solution.
Yeah.
And ultimately what ended up happening was that this affected a lot of brown and Black kids and their parents were targets of it.
Yeah.
And so who knows? Maybe if we asked her now, she'd say like, I regret doing that. I don't know.
I'm so curious on how Trump's going to bring all this stuff up to her. Cause I'm like, okay, so what's your record and like policy? You don't really have any pre your presidency. And like, what are the things that you've said and done?
I mean, it feels crazy to think that these are our two choices when it's like a felon
And a prosecutor.
and prosecutor.
The irony is like incredible.
I mean, truly, someone that has sexually assaulted women his whole life, and she spent her career defending those victims. Just very interesting.
So that's why I'm like, how is he going to ever try to come after her when he is a felon himself?
That's a great question, Claire.
Yeah.
This is a crazy world that it feels like a movie.
It does.
It feels like a sitcom.
I wish it were fiction, but hey, here we are.
I do as well. So needless to say, we learn as we grow. There's things in her past that aren't 100% maybe perfect, you could say, that aren't the decision that she would make now. As we talked about, she has done things as her time in VP that are very different than when she was district attorney. So
yeah, I am excited to hear her response to that as well. Like, I think that's so important. Again, like the past happened. What are you going to do moving forward to right those wrongs?
Exactly.
And that's what matters. Like, that's what we're living in now. That's our future.
Everything is future facing.
Yeah.
It has to be right now. Some other amazing accomplishments she did have during this time was after being elected, Kamala declared her office would not defend Prop 8, a state constitutional amendment providing that only marriages between a man and a woman are valid. Kamala appealed a federal ruling in favor of an imprisoned transgender woman's request for gender-affirming surgery, arguing that psychotherapy and feminizing hormone therapy were sufficient medical treatment.
Have you seen the video going around, speaking of like legalizing marriages and stuff, where she's on the phone with they're at like the courthouse or whatever, and there was this gay couple who it was the day that it was legalized, and they were trying to get like their certificate, and it wasn't like quite approved yet, and she gets on the phone and calls them, and she was like, go now. Like in action, just being like, no, let them get married. And then she was like, enjoy the day. It's going to be a great day.
Oh,
I know.
That's very sweet.
I didn't like not describe that well, but
No,
I'll find it and send it to you because it's important to post because it's really special. And I can't believe it was so recent.
I know. We'll put it on our carousel.
Yeah.
Well, she just seems like that she's someone that you want in your corner. What else did this sweet little angel do? She prioritized environmental protection. First securing a $44 million settlement to resolve all damages and costs associated with the Costco Busan oil spill. Very bad.
I mean, all the oil spills are just so crazy.
I know. And in 2016, her office seized videos and other information from the apartment of an anti-abortion activist who had made secret recordings and then accused Planned Parenthood's doctors of illegally selling fetal tissue. She was like, get in the apartment, go. She's like, go.
She's like, rat him out, like that he's being a liar.
Yeah, I mean, truly,
That's
though.
crazy.
So she was doing a lot of really amazing things for the LGBTQIA, for the environment, for Planned Parenthood, women's health.
I'm just like, when people are like, what has she done? I'm like, also, as vice president, you shouldn't be in the news a ton.
And that is the thing, that you shouldn't.
You should just be keeping your head down, doing your job.
And actually, that's an interesting point because even as president, you shouldn't be in the news that much.
And I think because of Trump, we're expecting to see the president doing something wild every single day in the news. This is not normal.
Well, there was a lot of like backlash that like, well, Biden hasn't done enough. There was like that was being said a lot, like approaching this election when he was still going to run. And it's like, actually, he did do a shit ton of things.
I think that's what Ben was saying on our episode last week as well, of being like, the media wants to put fear. That's how they get more views. That's how they get more money. So
exactly.
You
should kind of just be doing your thing and like,
Yeah.
And you don't really have to see headlines about what they're saying or,
And we don't hear about these amazing things happening every day. And like, she was in California for so long. So she was like, so in Minnesota, you might not feel the effects of what she was doing in California.
Exactly. And she is continuing her Elle Woods era at this point because on May 15th, 2015, she received a Doctor of Laws from the University of Southern California.
Oh my God. From USC? Mm-hmm. Wow, she is all over California.
She loves California.
Hey, what's not to love?
I mean, literally, though. And then let's talk a little bit about Senate. Okay. So on July 19th, President Obama and Vice President Joe Biden were going back. Isn't that crazy? Life's crazy.
It was a simpler time in a way, wasn't it?
It sure was, Claire.
Yeah.
Everything before 2016 was a lot...
It was,
calmer.
It was calmer.
So they endorsed Harris. So in the November 2016 election, Kamala defeated Sanchez. Who's Sanchez?
her opponent.
Capturing over 60% of their vote. Following her victory, she promised to protect immigrants from the policies of President-elect Donald Trump and announced her intention to remain Attorney General until the end of 2016. Dun, dun, dun. So we are going to have a second episode, Kamala Part 2. We're really going to talk a lot about what she plans on doing as president in 2024 and her policies and her values. And we're also going to take a quick little fun like detour and get into like fun facts about her, what she likes to do, favorite books, movies, food,
Love.
dating, Doug, and everything, just to like have a little breather too.
So ram-coded. Like
So
we want to see the
ram-coated.
juicy stuff too. Like,
Exactly.
Smart and sexy, you know?
Smart and sexy.
And guys, if you love this episode, please share it. Again, we will have a part 2. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube at Right Answers Mostly. We have a premium channel with 2 bonus episodes a month. So check it out.
Check it out. Please, please send this episode to a friend, to a family member.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.